How y'all doing? This is Rob Burnham, here, Preacher Man R&B, and this is another episode of Richard TV 91. This time I'm doing another Halloween classic. This time I'm reviewing Mrs. Doubtfire. And what happens in this movie is this father, who is a voice actor, he loses his job and he goes home to give his son a birthday party. Well, whenever his wife gets home, they had this big old fight and she wants a divorce. So they get a divorce, and the father has to get his own place and everything, and has so many months to do this. That way he can have joint custody of his kids. Well, his brother's this makeup artist, so he gets this idea to be the nanny for his kids because his ex-wife shows him the ad or whatever. So he's calling her in different voices or whatever, and then he calls her in the Mrs. Doubtfire voice, and then he shows up as Mrs. Doubtfire and gets the job. Well, he gets the job and he's taking care of his kids, and what happens is he goes to use the restroom halfway through the movie. His son walks in on him and he sees that Mrs. Doubtfire is a man. So he has to talk to him in his normal voice, and then they figure out the two oldest figure out it's their dad. And he tells them to keep it between us and don't tell their little sister. That way he can still have something to do with his kids. Well, what happens is he's got this new job at this studio, and this show for kids is about to be canceled. And he gives some ideas to the head of the studio or whatever. Then he has a dinner meeting with him at the same time that he has to be Mrs. Doubtfire for his ex-wife's birthday. So he's going back and forth, and he gets drunk, and he goes as Mrs. Doubtfire to the meeting with the head of the studio when he was changing into Mrs. Doubtfire. He thought he was going to where his ex-wife was, but he knows where the head of the studio is, and then he tells them this is new territory for your TV show or whatever, and the head likes this or whatever, and then the ex-wife's boyfriend is getting choked up on some shrimp, and Mrs. Doubtfire has to help get the shrimp out of his throat doing Hamlet, and then the prosthetic mask comes off, and she finds out it's her ex-husband. Then they have this trial, and he's now having supervised visits with his kids, and then his wife sees that he really truly loves his kids, and then he gets to show the Mrs. Doubtfire show, and he has his own kids TV show or whatever. And then she comes around and lets him have his kids, and that's all that really happened on this movie. If y'all have ever watched Mrs. Doubtfire, what y'all like about it? As always, Preacher Man R&B signing out, guys. GG is awesome. It's been an episode of Richard TV 91. See y'all next time. And I know this ain't a traditional Halloween classic, but it was on 31 Nights of Halloween for Freeform, so I put it in Halloween classics. That way I can review it. See y'all next time.